And we are live. What up, players? Welcome to episode 188 of Player Life. It is Tuesday, the 26th of October here in Tokyo, Japan. Bit late to the game. Late to the game. It feels like I have not live streamed in a while. But it is what it is. I will try to be more consistent from going forward. Try to be more consistent. And yeah, today I was going to talk about nightlife. Nightlife in Japan, or just nightlife in general. Nightlife in general. Uh, Nightlife with the aim of getting laid, since this is the player life. Um, but before we delve into that, I just want to share something. Share something over here. Share screen. Yeah, and here we have. I found someone sent this to me. Sometimes YouTube, a lot of time, YouTube will. I'll get a notification that I've gotten a comment, and then I'll read the comment. I'll go to click on the comment, and it will not be shown because the comment goes against YouTube guidelines. It's just crazy. I mean, even if it's crazy, like, I mean, even if the comments, if there's comments on my video and they include words like feminism, they won't show up. It's pretty nuts, actually. Um, yeah, it's nuts. Really crazy. It's really annoying. It's really fucking annoying, actually. Someone wrote a comment. Some guy called Naxcap Fullsap commented, "Hey man, you can speak Japanese, right? There's a feminist girl living in Japan with a link to this TikTok. Um, you should do an episode about feminists in Japan." And this comment doesn't show up. I can read it in the notifications, but it won't show up because it includes YouTube censors the word. I mean, it appears that they're censoring the word feminists. It's fucking annoying. Well, fuck's sake. What a bunch of dickheads. This happens all the time. If there's any kind of comment on my videos that has the word feminist in it or any kind of, it's nuts. I don't know. Fucking dickheads. Absolute fucking wankers. Not the people making the comments. I'm talking about YouTube, obviously. But yeah, anyway, I could read it, but it doesn't show up under the videos. Um but yeah, just sent me a link to this chick's page, and these are the kind of, I've talked before about how in Japan, they're, oh, who's it? Gabriel E in the house. What is up? What is good? Hope you're well. Bit late to the game this morning, but it's all good. I've talked before about how there's, feminism, thankfully, has not arrived in Japan. It's not here. It's it's basically pretty based in a lot of ways. In societal terms, the Western kind of feminism it has not taken over at all. However, the kinds of people who bring back feminism to Japan are usually, Western girls or Japanese girls that maybe went to study abroad, study in America for a couple of years, and then they bring back the cancerous feminism with them. Or, it could be like, half mixed kids that maybe grew up in America, and then they come back to live in Japan because, that one of their parents is Japanese, and then they bring the cancerous feminism with them. This appears to be one of them, and she is pure cancer. pure cancer. Let's have a look.
So, a half Japanese girl that goes to high school in Japan found out that her yearbook pictures were edited to make her naturally brown hair look black. So, this is her in her natural hair. It looks like mine. And then in the photo, they edited it to look black. This is such a pervasive problem in Japanese schools that there was even a lawsuit about it. So, as you can see, in 2017, a high school student actually sued her school because they kept forcing her to dye her hair black. Your scalp is so delicate at that age, it's obviously so damaging to put that many chemicals. So, when she stopped doing it, they took away her desk. It's hard to say that it's racism because Japanese people with naturally brown hair also experience this. It more or less pertains to the fact that Japanese schools are obsessed with militarism and uniformity. Some schools in Japan, they have weekly assemblies in which they have to listen to the principal talk, and they stand in rows like this. The less diversity, the easier to control. It's deeper than racism. It's about the militarism that's fundamentally at the core of Japanese society. So a half Japanese girl.
Thank you, Gabrielle. Good stuff. Um, I was muted. Okay, so yeah, I find it hard to believe that they would force a kid to dye their hair. I mean, even if they asked the kid to dye their hair, I'm sure if their parents just said no, they're not going to force it. I mean, they can't. I mean, it's probably against the law. It's against. I'm sure it's against the law to force a kid to dye their hair. Um, it's probably some overblown story where maybe some dumb teacher asked the kid to dye their hair or something like that, and it got overblown. But I mean, I'm sure it's pretty illegal to ask a kid to dye their hair. I mean, most schools actually have rules against dyeing your hair. That's actually a thing. It's like they'll like disallow kids to have their hair dyed or have any kind of piercings, things like that. So I don't know. I don't know. I'd need to look into it more. But I remember there was in the school I taught at there was an albino kid, and like all the kid in Japan, anytime they had an assembly in the gym, and they'd all line up perfectly in order, and there was always one kid, just this that stood out so much because she was albino, like pure white hair. Just it was interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I never. I mean, I never saw her getting mistreated or anything. In fact, people used to treat her even nicer to her. I don't know. Maybe what else have we got here? More victimhood kind of bullshit. Um, let's see.
Yes, did you know there are North Korean schools in Japan? I actually went to a bunkasai, a culture festival that one of these North Korean schools were hosting. It was obviously a very fascinating experience. When I visited, it really made Japanese history feel a lot more real. We don't call it North Korean because, North Korean people came to Japan and then built up these schools. That's not the case. After Japan annexed Korea, they forcibly recruited a lot of Korean people to come into the country and basically enslave them as forced laborers. They were forced to do a lot of backbreaking labor, like mining, dangerous factory work, construction. And since there was such a large population, they eventually started up these schools, which still exist today. They're called North Korean schools because the people that established them are from that area. And of course, the government that's associated with that part of the peninsula is very notorious. These schools face a lot of discrimination, like not just from the Japanese people, but also from the government. So they often don't get funding. And then during the whole coronavirus pandemic, the government didn't send them any masks. But they're not like indoctrinated the way that you would imagine. Like here, it says that they learn everything that people would learn in Japanese schools, but also including their history. Like, they're children, like normal children. Like, look at how cute they are. And like the image that I got when I visited was very much like trying to regain a sense of Korean identity before the Japanese invasion. Like it's so crazy to me when Japanese people complain about North Korea when they're the reason why they exist. And a lot of the crazy practices that North Korea does were inspired by the Japanese imperial government. Like putting up pictures of your rulers and worshiping them in schools. Yeah, that's what the Japanese imperial government forced people to do. And our former Prime Minister Abe was notorious for funding a kindergarten that does exactly this with the Japanese emperor. These Dynasty Koreans that are still living in Japan today face so much discrimination from Japanese society. And it doesn't make sense. Like, you're going to worship a country that nuked you twice, but you're going to complain about the people that you colonized? Like, okay. Yes, did you know there are North Korean?
So this kind of chick, like, she's probably, I guess she's mixed, you know, but she definitely did not grow up in Japan. I'm guessing from her accent. There's no like how could she have an accent like she does if she grew up in Japan? It's very likely. I'm guessing that she grew up in America. So, that just makes her pretty much American, and she's bringing with her. Uh, she's claiming that she's Japanese, but she's culturally American. She's culturally American. Yeah, sure. She has some Japanese blood, but at the end of the day, she's just bringing pure cancer with her back to Japan, and Japan doesn't want any of that bullshit. Japan doesn't doesn't want her shit. She's bringing it back. She's saying our country. Yeah, like she has a Japanese passport. Let's see.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is a really insightful comment. And actually, I was reading this book. I don't know if you've ever heard of this book before. Maybe you don't have one. I don't know. But you should really get your hands on it. And right here on page 18, it says, "Shut the fuck up." Thank you so much. This is a really insightful comment. And actually, I was reading.
The thing is, Japan is pretty honestly, it's pretty based when it comes to ethnicity or nationality, and in for example, I mean, in Ireland, like people are so pussified as to they're just so afraid of being called racist in Ireland. They're so terrified. Like so you see like news stories and politicians and people talking about how and anyone can be Irish and we're all Irish at the end of the day, and foreigners are just as Irish as the Irish themselves, and if you've lived in Ireland for 2 years, you can be as Irish as the Irish themselves. It's just such fucking garbage, like just pure lies and shit, just cowardice, just pure and utter cowardice. But like it's just garbage, retardation. But Japan is like they're pretty they're pretty based. They're pretty honest. I mean, they're just when it comes to race and nationality. I mean, for me to ever say that I'm Japanese just because I live in Ireland it would be like absurd. I think it would be absurd, and Japanese people would think it's absurd. So I'm not Japanese, and I never will be Japanese, not in any way, shape, or form. No matter how good at speaking Japanese, no matter how much I know about their history, no matter how much I know about their culture. I'm Irish. I'm an Irishman in Japan. But Japan is like, yeah, they would acknowledge that, and they know I'm a white, I'm a white Irish guy living in Japan. I'm not Irish. I'm not Japanese. So this when it can also be kind of like, I mean, especially this girl, like she grows up in America. She looks mixed, so she comes over and starts talking about my country, and this is my country, and she brings with her her toxic garbage feminism, pure cancer, and she starts talking about my country. That would really piss off Japanese people. I mean, it pisses me off. I'm not even Japanese, just because. So yeah, yeah, one of your parents is Japanese, but you grew up in America. You're culturally American. You're bringing with you your toxic shit. You're full of shit. You're garbage. Get out. Yes. That's the kind of attitude they're gonna have. They're not gonna be as. Japanese people won't be as direct as I am, but that's what they're thinking. Um, that is what they are thinking. Let's see.
Can y'all stop using my own culture?
Let's see. Yeah.
Can y'all stop using my own culture to silence me when I receive racist and sexist comments? I hate it when people are like, an old samurai once said, "We don't give a fuck. We don't give a fuck about samurais." Like, have y'all?
We don't give a fuck. We don't give a fuck. Like it's like no Japanese, no Japanese girls speak like that. There's no Japanese girls speak like that. I've never heard. You, you, that's just she's culturally not Japanese. I don't give a fuck if her parents are Japanese. She didn't grow up in Japan because Japanese girls don't speak like that. You know, they don't have accents like that. I don't know where the fuck she grew up, but it's not Japanese. And she's saying we, like she's not speaking. It's like she's speaking for all Japanese people. Like, you know, I hate the way she takes like ownership for all of Japan, even though she's clearly culturally American.
Have y'all forgotten what samurais have done? They were salty that they lost power, so they overthrew the government. And then they invaded Korea. That's a pretty fiery response, bro. Like, why do you think Japan is the way that it is today? Why do you
Red flag when chicks start using words like bro. God, it's such a red flag. Don't if you're ever on a date with a chick and she calls you bro, like check her real fast and just say, "Listen, I'm not your fucking bro." You can like seriously, I fucking hate when chicks call me bro. What do you mean you call him bro? Like, don't call me bro. I'm not your bro.
think we have so much racism and xenophobia and misogyny? It's because the ancestors of the people ruling this country today were samurais. Hello? Honorable samurai my ass. These assholes were like beating their wives and like having concubines. Literally the worst human beings. Why do we revere them? This is the most condescending shit I've ever read. Like, don't let their anger become your anger. Bitch, say that to the samurais that colonized all of Asia. I swear. Can y'all stop using my own culture to silence me? I am absolutely loving this new phenomenon of white girls who use Hiroshima, the world's first nuclear disaster, as a metaphor for their toxic relationships. So there's a French artist who recently released a single in which she talks about her complex relationship with this man and how he's so hot and cold, and she calls that relationship and her love towards him Hiroshima. Like, oh my fucking god, a battlefield is all we have left. My love is Hiroshima. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, is it romantic that a bunch of Japanese people died even years after the bombing because of the radiation? I know that to some white people, Japan seems like some faraway fantasy land, but Japanese people, we are still suffering from the aftermath of the bombings, even today. Y'all only do this shit with Hiroshima too. I want to see this with Pearl Harbor. Since y'all white people want to play this game, I'm gonna write a song about how good and explosive the sex with my man is and call it 9/11. I am absolutely loving.
I don't even know where to start with that one. uh, Aaron in the house says, "LOL. I think Japanese people, men and women, are more collective and tend to go with the flow. They definitely understand the sacrifice for the group. Think about kamikaze bombers, World War II. Yeah, it's definitely a collectivist culture. Honestly, I mean, it's it's I think it's much better to be a foreigner in Japan that has your shit together than to be a Japanese to be working in a Japanese company, because once you join the company in Japan, you're in it for good. I mean, you're that's pretty much your life. Your work is your life in Japan, and that's not for me. That is not for me. But yeah, this chick, just pure victimhood mindset, wanting all the victimhood points, and just complete obnoxious bitch. Yeah, clearly, of course she's gonna take jabs at white people because it's like easy. It's an easy target. It's the hip thing to do. It's the acceptable thing to do. Just I mean, imagine just flipping the script and using, imagine she started talking about black people, like just like the way she does talk about white people. I mean, she wouldn't get away with that. She wouldn't be able to do it. She wouldn't get her victimhood points. Just the fucking hypocrisy with these woke fucktards, the fucking woke little dumb heads on them. Um, Mad fucking hypocrisy, double standards. Um, yeah, but they're just little weasels that that they're really cowardly. Really, to be honest, they're just cowards, and they just want to be accepted. They think it's basically just a little fashion statement for them. With her little TikTok, she gets a lot of validation. She gets a lot of views. It's just a cool thing to do. She thinks she's on the winning side, so she, she'll jump on all this social justice bullshit. Let's see.
Thank you, white man living in Japan, offering your unsolicited opinion about the content I make about.
I wouldn't be surprised if her father is Japan is white or something. She has real daddy issues. She kind of looks half white. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what mix she is, but she's definitely not full Japanese. This is not a full Japanese girl that you're looking at. This is not, like, she doesn't have a full Japanese face. Um, she's definitely mixed. Um,
My own country.
Positive comment, white man living in Japan, offering your unsolicited opinion about the content I make about my own country.
Notice the way she keeps talking about my own country. It's my country, we, our. And it's like I said, it's pretty fucking obvious this bitch didn't she didn't grow up in Japan. I can't say that factually. I don't know 100%, but like I don't know anything about her really other than her stupid little TikTok. But I mean, listen to her accent. Look at the vocabulary she's using. There's doesn't sound Japanese at all. There's near zero reference to being Japanese, anything culturally Japanese about her. She's just like pure toxic American garbage, like pure toxic. Um, Gabriel E says, "Was she born here?" I don't know. Don't know anything about her, but just from listening to her and watching her videos just now, it appears that she definitely not was not born here, or if she was, she spent a lot of time watching seriously toxic garbage propaganda. Um, no, it's pretty obvious she was born in America. or Canada or somewhere. But yeah.
Positive content about Japan?
You mean like your videos about robots, food, and the weather? It's very clear from this video that you posted that your only personality trait is living in this country. My issue with positive content is that it's dehumanizing. It paints everyone with the same exact brush, that everyone is this exotic creature doing cool, fun things. There's too much positive content about Japan. I make these kind of videos to show the duality of Japanese people. Yes, on one hand, they have cool toilets, but also there's poverty, there's sexism, and there's crime. We need to humanize Japanese people a little bit more by showing the reality of the situation. This kind of tourism content is another form of imperialism. It filters another country to entertain and meet the needs of Western people. Positive content is fine, but on the other side of that coin, when I talk about the atrocities of the atomic bomb, people are quick to say that Japan deserved it, and it's because of this dehumanization. Thank you, white man living in Japan, offering your unsolicited opinion about the content I...
This is the kind of dumb bitch that if a black person attacks an Asian person or beats up an Asian person, she's the type of dumb fucking hoe to blame it on white people. And I think that's pretty obvious. But yeah, yeah, enough of her for today. But yeah, I mean that's the let's see. Gabriel E says she seems Californian, North San Francisco. Yeah, I mean it's pretty obvious she's certainly not culturally Japanese. Japanese girls are so different from her. Super different. Like they don't have that victimhood mindset. Your average Japanese girl doesn't give a fuck about politics, and that's great. That's in my opinion that's exactly the way it should be. Like they don't care about politics. Um, you know, you ask a Japanese a girl who's the president of America now, they're probably not going to know. Yeah, like they probably would have known when Trump was president, but if you say who's the president of America, they'll be like eh ah Trump Trump. They they're not gonna know. I doubt they're gonna know. Like they really don't give a fuck about. They're just Japanese girls. They care about fashion. They care about travel. They care about food. And cute animals. it's it's just a good. It's a good. I don't know. It's so much. Yeah, it's just much better than to be around. Compared to being around toxic, obnoxious, confrontational, entitled, victimhood mindset hoes. Um, Man, if you ever go on a date with a girl like that, it's not worth it. I'd probably just like fucking roast her on the date and tell her to get fucked. It would just be fun. It would be it would be more fun to argue with her and to put her in her place than to fuck her. So um if ever I go on a date and it turns out I meet up with a toxic, really toxic feminist. Rarely I do. I mean I don't even know if it's ever happened, because it's pretty obvious. If either I'm doing day game and I'm gonna know from approaching them if they're toxic feminists or not, or it's gonna be a dating app where again, if you're using the dating app, a toxic feminist is gonna let you know that she's a toxic feminist. She's gonna have all the LGBT stuff. She's gonna be like, I don't like Trump. She's gonna have like, you better not be far right. You better not be a white supremacist in her hate. She'll have like things like hate, white supremacist, misogyny, and stuff like that. Um, so it's that's why I've never been on a date with, I don't think, with like a toxic feminist. Um, but if ever I did go on a date with a toxic feminist, I would just probably argue with her. I would probably it would be more fun than to than to fuck her because I have that abundance mindset. I'm willing to. I'm not so desperate for sex where that I'm gonna like tolerate a toxic feminist bitch like trying to talk to me about white privilege and start talking down to me and stuff. Fucking double standard with their double standards and their fucking hypocrisy. Get the fuck out of here. Um, yeah, no. A friend of mine the other day, we're on the train and we were just chatting, and I said to him, sometimes it's good for the soul to, turn down pussy. And then he said, getting pussy builds confidence, but rejecting pussy builds character. And I thought that was a good one. That was a good one. Getting pussy builds confidence, but rejecting pussy builds character. So if you ever go on a date with a toxic bitch, right, and she's a real toxic bitch, and if you tolerated it, if you put up with it, you might get laid. You might. It's not guaranteed, but sometimes you can just like put these bitches in their place, and like sometimes you shouldn't tolerate their shit. So a lot of most of the time you shouldn't tolerate their shit. Let's just say 100% of the time you shouldn't tolerate bullshit. Um, just tell them straight up. Sometimes it's not worth it. If you have to put up with a bitch like a toxic and like pretend that you're some woke tired, just to get laid, it's gonna be. I don't know. It's probably not. It's probably gonna be more satisfying to like, yo, bitch, shut the fuck up. Like, what are you talking about? Get into it. Get into it with them. Put them in their place. Like, but then again, it's unlikely to happen because, like I said, if you're gonna know, like, you're gonna know before you go on the date with a toxic feminist because it's pretty obvious. They like to wear it on their sleeves. They like to advertise their toxicity. They don't keep it all wrapped up. Because it's a fashion statement for these idiots. It's just fashion. Like they think it's cool. They think it's hip. They think they're gonna get social validation from it, and a lot of the time they do. They get socially validated. They get comments, likes. Oh, you're a hero. Yes, girl. You go, bitch. Boss, bitch. Uh, yeah, but it is what it is. But yeah, no, today I want to talk about a bit about nightlife since I went out. Actually, I went out on Saturday night for the first time in a while, and kind of reminded me about how about a bit about nightlife. I don't do that much nightlife. Most of what I get up to, when it comes to getting with sourcing ladies is from day game. Cold approach. Just haven't been into nightlife too much. It's just it's sometimes it can be fun every now and again if you can keep it to like a minimum. I don't want to be one of these guys that are that's living for the weekend. Like oh yay, it's Friday night. Let's go. Oh, Saturday night. I mean, yeah, once in a while, like once a month sounds like a good ratio or a good you know a good amount. Because if you're doing it like every weekend, it's gonna get boring. You're gonna be it's just not as exciting. Depends on your age as well. I mean, if you're younger, you might want to do it. You might want to go out. You might want to go to clubs. You might want to go to bars and this, that, and the other. If you're like, you might have that super energized to be around like scantily clad hot women. I mean, I'm always down to be around scantily clad hot women, but sometimes it's just, yeah, sometimes the juice isn't worth the squeeze. I mean, nightlife takes a certain level of calibration, a certain level of patience as well. That day game doesn't require. Day game is much more straightforward. Um, Jason L in house. What's up? What is good? Gabriel E says, Mac, did you smash that hottie from the course? That hottie, yeah, I day gamed that hottie. That was that was a day game there, and yeah. So I was with my guy Jair, and we're rolling around doing some game on the streets, the main streets of Tokyo, and yeah, so yeah, but yeah, anyway, yeah, I did smash her. I did. It was a good old time. But that's the power of day game. You can rope them into doing courses. But yeah, so yeah, you gotta love the Chinese girls. Chinese girls are fun. They're more, they seem to be more energetic. Chinese girls are different to Japanese girls. Japanese girls are super feminine and reserved, um, and kind of they close off their personality a little bit. But Chinese girls are more expressive. They kind of more express themselves. They don't really hide their emotions or feelings. They're kind of more open, but it's a little they're a little bit they're you know I like variety is the spice of life. I like variety, but yeah. So nightlife, as I was saying, it's nice to do it, every so often, just because it can be fun. The thing about nightlife, it offers, you can escalate quicker, that with if that's what you're out for. If you're out specifically to look for women, it's nice because you can escalate physically quicker. uh as with day game, you can't really have a chick grinding up on your dick like out on the street, like, it's, I mean, you could, but it's not like very practical, is it? But in the club, in the bar, it's kind of, it's acceptable for that to go down, for a girl to grind on your dick. But yeah, the thing about nightlife, it's just there's just a lot of different elements to it. It just requires patience and things like that. um Honestly, the easiest time to like score from nightlife is at the very end, like at the end of the night, when it's like 4 a.m., like 5 a.m., and like people are ready. It's decision time. People have to go somewhere. It's like it's really late. Like it's late. People have been out all, like they've already been out for hours, like hours and hours. They've been probably drinking a lot. Um, so that, and it's like time to go home. It's time to do something, go home. But so that is actually the best time, I would say, to score. Like that's because it's yeah, like I said, the main reason, because they have to go somewhere, so you might as well shoot your shot. um because before that, if you're trying to take a girl home, like at this like at around let's just say you go to the club and it's like 11:30 a.m., 11:30 p.m. It's like pretty much the start of the night. Um the girl, let's just say the girls goes to the club and she's with her friend. She just arrives to the club. Like if you hit on her and you buy her drink and you dance with her and stuff like that, you hit it off with her and you're like, hey, let's get out of here, let's bounce. She's gonna be like, oh, I'm here with my friends, and she's gonna be there with her friends. She just got there, and her friends are gonna try and cock block you. So that's why nightlife involves like patience, because you have to hang out, you have to hang around. You can't like hold on to them for like, you can't be leeches on, you can't be following them around the club or anything like that, because that's like low value behavior if you're starting to follow them around the club. So It's like you have to have them on the hook, and then you have to let them off the hook and let them fuck off, and then you have to find them again. And it's like this game. It's kind of this game of cat and mouse, and it requires like patience, and it's like it's not guaranteed because while you let them off the hook, if something better comes along, she's gonna jump on. She's gonna get on that hook, you know. So it's club game is that's why you have to get multiple girls on hooks when you're in a club. You have to have multiple leads. You can't just be banking. You can never bank on one girl. And yeah, it's just a thing where you have to have multiple leads, multiple girls. If like this is club game, like or nightlife, when you really want to, when you're really being strategic about it, when you're really trying to get some pussy, is like you have like multiple girls. You get them on the hook, like you let them off the hook, because you can't like if the girl is going to be in the club and you've you can shoot your shot and try and get them out of there, but they're going to be like, oh, I'm with my friends, or their friends will come over and cock block you, and then you kind of let them off the hook at that point. Because if you try and like leech onto them and try and keep them around you, it's like low value kind of weak behavior. So you have to let them off the hook again, let them off, and then you go and you kind of get another girl on a hook. You kind of buy her drink, talk to her. This is the kind of shit you have to do. Like you have to kind of buy chicks drinks, in clubs. If you go up like, if you go up trying to like, what are you gonna say? Oh, do you want to buy yourself? What do she's gonna. It's just a kind of thing you have to do. I mean, if you're standing there and she doesn't have a drink in her hand, and it's like if you don't offer her a drink, she's gonna think you're a bit of a fucking stingy fucker. She's just it's just like it's just I guess at this point it's like just etiquette. It's etiquette. They just expect it. Girls just expect that at this point. It's gonna salt your game if you're not willing to, if you don't have money to be buying, if you don't have money to be buying girls drinks. I don't know what you're even doing in a club. Like you kind of need to at least be able to buy a girl a drink. It's not like you're simping out for them, but there's it's like if you're worried about chicks like ripping you off for drinks, like then you're it sounds like you don't have that much money. Of course you shouldn't just be giving girls drinks out. Like you shouldn't just give it immediately. Like don't immediately give them a drink. Like what I like to do is I will, I'll talk to them first, at least for a few minutes, like just before I get them a drink, and I'll escalate it to a certain degree before I get them a drink too. I'm not just gonna go, hey, do you want a drink? Hey, oh, do you want a drink? Like, oh, just straight, oh yeah, sure, here's your drink, and then they'll fuck off, because girls will do that to guys, weak guys, like real weak guys that they'll be like, oh, she'll get her drink and she'll go, oh, thank you so much. I gotta find my friends. See you later. And she literally like, I mean, it's happened to me in the past. It doesn't happen anymore because it does that doesn't happen to me anymore because, like I said, I'll talk to a girl for a few minutes before I get her a drink. I'm not just gonna go, hey, do you want a drink? No, because girl will go, yeah, sure. She'll get the drink and she'll be like, where's my friends? Where's the classic, like, where's my friends? I have to find my friends. That's a classic fucking, oh, I got my free drink, like, yay, like, gotta find my friends, like, I'm so lost, oh, I'm so scared, I'm lost, where's my friends? No, you talk to them for a few minutes. No, you don't need to talk that long, but you kind of slightly escalate. You can either hold their hand, put your hand on their back, stand very close to them. See if they're like backing off, like slapping your hand away from their back, or like moving. Don't. Sometimes I won't even bother buying them a drink. Even if they're talking, if they're like edging away, if they're like, if you see a girl that's like constantly like making it awkward and moving away from you and like pulling away, and that's obviously a real, like, this bitch doesn't, she's not open, like she's just gonna take the drink and she's gonna bounce. Don't waste your time, like find another girl that's more open. Like if a girl is like pulling away from you, just putting your hand on her shoulder or on her back or on her waist, I mean, come on, like that's nothing. Like that's not, that's but some girls will you'll try and position yourself close to them, and then they'll turn away, they'll get out, make it difficult for you to do that. It's like, okay, don't waste your time with a girl like that. Just let her off the hook. Let her off the hook. Fuck off. Find another girl. Find another girl that's going to be more open to you. Um uh Jason L says, I find the level of cock blocking in the club is off the charts. Cock blocking is part of the game, man. These bitches will cock block. Guys will cock block. Like girls are really terribly bad. Like I think girls are much worse. Some guys will cock block, of course. But the girls' friends are the serious cock blockers. They're the hardcore cock blockers. Um, yeah, girls are really, really terribly bad at cock. They're very aggressive cock blockers. If they don't like you, they will really wreck your chances. I think guys can absolutely cock block, especially beta males, beta guys. They can cock block real hard. Um, you know, some guys won't cock block though. Uh, so let me just talk about a little bit about Saturday night. So I'm out and it's like 4:30 a.m. in the morning. It's like I'm ready to go home. We've already been to a club. We're waiting outside. We're just kind of chilling. It's like just outside. People are kind of starting to stream out. It's like it's kind of go home time. The club's about to finish, or it has finished. Um, so all these hotties are streaming out onto the streets, and I'm just chilling with my friends, chatting away, and look over, and I see this like sexy, like cute girl. She's wearing this little black dress, and she's one of these Japanese girls with really white skin, like a lily white skin with real black hair. She's wearing these little tiny little dress, real petite, nice little figure on her, and she's wearing this like big oversized like jacket. It looked like a quilt, but it kind of the contrast between her big like jacket and her little tiny little sexy figure and her little dress was really sexy. So anyway, I looked over at her and she just like I locked eyes with her, and I just like stared at her. If you ever do this, you should don't be the first to look away. Let them look away first. If you look away first, you look weak. You look real weak. But you have to look at her like look at her like you mean it. Like look at her like don't look at her like you're gonna kill her. Look at her like you're gonna fuck her. Look at her like let them know. And don't be the first to look away. Don't look down, don't blush, don't do any of that. Like you can smile, you can, but be the first to don't be the first to look away. But yeah, anyway, she looked, and then she looked away. We got some I got some construction workers outside. They're probably gonna be fucking noisy as fuck because they're putting up scaffold around the building. But anyway, she looked away and blushed, and then I just called her over, and she came over. So she entered my frame, and that was good. That was a good move. And but then I was there, I was talking with my friends, so she was really hot. So it was kind of like I called her over, but it was a thing that I talked to her first. I introduced myself, all that. But my friend was also like, "Damn, this girl's fine." So he was starting to try and talk to her too. And she started, talking a bit to him. He was talking to both of us, but I was calling dibs on her because I was the one that called her over. And but he's a cool guy. He gets it. He understands it. But the way I let him know is the way I demonstrate that, this bitch is mine, right? I just I shot for the Instagram, and then he gets it, So I got her Instagram, and yeah, lo and behold, as soon as I get her Instagram, her friends come over, pull her away, cock blocked. I just kind of, let her off the hook, and she gets dragged away. We're still outside the club, but you know I have my eye on her a little bit, and she's getting hit on. She's getting hit on left, right, and center. She's a sexy, like, she's 20 years old. She's sexy as fuck, like, um and I see different guys, like I see her giving her Instagram to different guys. I know this girl is just like getting, people are thirsting for this girl because she's sexy, she's sexy. And but so, well, I seen some guys like drop the ball with her. About 10 minutes later, I was like, oh, fuck this. It's like 4:30. I thought at this point it was like 4:45. It's coming up on 5 a.m. um Coming up on 5 a.m. I'm like, fuck this, I'm out of here. Like, I'm shooting my shot. So I tell my friends, listen, I'm fucking I'm out of here. Like, I'm taking this girl home. If she doesn't come home with me, I'm bouncing. Like, I'm getting in a taxi. I'm out. Because it's like, night's over. I'm done. If we've been out for hours, it was an all right time. But so I roll over to her. She's like kind of standing, like some guys dropped the ball with her, and she's standing there looking cold. So I just roll up to her and I'm like, yo, like, let's get out of here. And she's like, what do you mean? Oh, fuck, it's fucking noisy as shit. But I just roll up to her and say, yo, let's get out of here. It's 4:30. Well, it's 4:30. It's cold. Let's go back to my apartment. It's like nice and warm. Let's chill in my place. And she's like, oh, but I'm on my period. I can't have sex with you. And I'm like, as soon as she said that, I'm like, this girl like definitely wants to come, because I didn't say anything about sex. Like, I was just like, let's go back to my house. I mean, it's obvious that I want to fuck her, but um yeah, so she just I just straight up like shot my shot, let's get out of here, man. Like, come on, let's go. Let's jump in it. And there was taxis all along. So I was like, let's just jump in a taxi. And I was selling it to her because she looks cold. Like, it's cold. It's getting cold here in Tokyo. Um so, it's she was very keen. Like, she was like, oh, you know, oh, but I want to come with you, but I'm worried my friends are gonna think I'm a slut. Like, my friends are gonna think I'm a slut. I don't want to be a slut. And she's like, this is the thing about females. Like, they don't want to be seen to be sluts. They don't want to seem like that. So it's like, she was like, oh, give me 10 minutes, and I was like, this was the mistake I made, because she said, oh, give me 10 minutes. I just want to think about it and tell my friends. And that's the mistake I made. I said, don't worry about your friends. I don't. But she kept insisting that she wanted to tell her friends. Um. So eventually I said, okay, all right, tell your friends, or have a think about it. But that was the mistake I made. What I should have done is I should have taken her. Because first of all, I should have tried to. Well, I did. I tried to convince her to not worry about her friends. Let's just jump in a taxi. Let's bounce. Like, because you want to avoid the friends, because the friends are going to cock block, right? That's the thing. But if they insist on talking to their friends, then you can't change it, right? What I should have done is taken her to her friends and say, okay, let's talk to your friends. Let's say that you're coming with me, and it's going to be all right. But I let her off the hook, and I let her go talk to her friends. And then lo and behold, I see her friends pulling her away. Like, my mistake. I should have went to her friends and sorted it out, attacked the issue straight up. Like, she's coming with me. It's fine. Don't worry about her. It's gonna be safe. It's no problem. It's cold. She's tired. We want to get out here. But yeah, her friends drag her away, and she's gone. I think she's gone. She's gone. Fuck it. Almost had her, but her friends cock blocked. Um. Anyway, I'm like, fuck this. Let's go, guys. Let's bounce out of here. So my friends are like, yeah, let's actually just jump on the subway. It's 10 minutes down the road. The trains are running at this point. Um. So I'm like, okay, let's bounce. And 10 minutes later, we're walking to the subway, and I see her and her friends outside a convenience store, and we were walking by her, and I just take her hand, I just grab her hand, and I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Like, it's like, come on, like it's 5 a.m. It's 5 a.m. You're cold. Let's bounce. Let's just jump in this taxi. Let's bounce. And she's like, like, yeah, I really want to come, but I'm so worried about my friends are gonna think I'm a slut. And I'm like, come on, where are your friends? At this point, I'm like, okay, where are your friends? I go to her friends, and I'm like, I go, listen, she's all right. She's gonna come with me. Don't worry about it. She's not, it's 5 a.m. She wants to chill with me. And she's like, and her friends are like, okay, if you want to go with him, it's fine. It's fine. It's up to you. And she's like, but yeah, and eventually, she just, there was a taxi, just jumped in the taxi. She came with me. But the thing is that she was just, these girls are very, especially Japanese girls. It depends. This is kind of Japanese game. Like, Japanese girls are much more worried about being slut shamed or anything like that. I mean, less so in Western countries. Tyrone in house says, "What club did you go to, Mac?" I went to a club called Zeus in, I think, Azerbaijan or Rapongi, and then I met this chick at another club. It's called A Life in Tokyo. Um, but man, Jason L, after party at Lawson. The funny thing is, dude, I think it might have been a Lawson. Lawson is a convenience store. I think she was outside of Lawson with her friends, and I was like, "Yo, come on, let's get out of here." And she knew. She was like, "Oh," and then the funny thing is, um, later that the next day, I noticed. Let me see, where's it at? The next day, I noticed, because I had exchanged the Instagram with her, and initially, on the first time I approached her, um, and I realized, like, I had two missed calls from her, and like three messages from her, and like saying, "You still here," like, and it says two missed calls, 4:50 a.m., 5 a.m., two messages saying, "Are you still here? Where are you?" So the thing is, this girl she wanted to come with me. I just didn't fucking Instagram. Sometimes, for calls, they don't come through. You have to check the settings or something. But yeah, so I missed the calls, didn't see the messages. So yeah, she just wanted to come, but she just wanted to be discreet about it. That's the thing. She wanted to sneak off and come with me rather than leave, like, with her friends, like leave in front of all of her friends. That's just the way they are. That's just the way they are over here. But yeah, I mean, yeah, she came home, and it was fucking it was a good time, man. What a sexy girl. Oh my god. 20 years old. Oh man. Like, yeah, just creamy, sexy, this white Japanese girl, as in white skin. Man, just pure. Oof, good old times. Gotta say, man, she is Oh man, man, you cannot beat young pussy, man. You cannot beat it. Cannot beat it. Hands down. That is female value. Like, high value is young pussy, man. Like, real high value. Yeah, she was just high value. Like, man, that shit is worth money. These chicks don't know that shit is that is currency for them, man. They just waste it. They waste a lot of that. They wasted that thing. The reason it's so valuable is because it's so fleeting. That beauty is so fleeting. It lasts, like, I don't know, 10 years max, like max. Like, but this girl was at the peak, the pinnacle, like, of her beauty, like 20 years old. It just doesn't get much better than that. Just perfection, like soft, supple skin, like, just she's very sweet, her accent, her voice is very sweet. She's very super feminine. Very uncontrived femininity too. Western women hate that. They hate it so much. Western women despise that, like that. And it's so funny because Western women will come over to Japan and say, "Oh, they're fake. They're so fake. Oh, they're so fake. They're Japanese girls are so fake. They're not. They're not like like Japanese girls are genuinely feminine. They're genuinely like weak and like soft, feminine. And oh man, that it drives Western women up the wall. They hate it because they're so jealous of it because they know they've been ripped off. They know deep down they just can't compete with it. They cannot compete with that. Like like Japanese women are like delicate flowers compared to like how masculine and unattractive Western women have become, like in personality, physically and in personality, like both. Like Western women are losing on all fronts. um it's just, man, I just, the thought of feminism coming to Japan is just, it's so disgusting. It's just pure cancerous, and it's just comes in and it's just starts spreading and spreading. It's nasty, man. It's a nasty cancer. It's a nasty, nasty, horrible cancer. And any country that has it will suffer because it's so demotivating for society. For like beautiful feminine women are what motivate men to like get up in the morning and work, and your average guy, to become, like, to make something of himself so he can become high value enough to attract a hot wife or a hot woman. But when women become disgusting and masculine and toxic and obnoxious and confrontational, it demotivates a society. Look at the Western societies are shit. Like, they're shit. They're shit. They're shitholes. They're shit societies. Like, Ireland is a shithole society. Ireland is a shithole society. Yeah, there's good. It has some good scenery and it has some good, has some interesting culture and history. But now it's a shithole society. The society sucks. Um, so, Irish women suck. They suck dick. Like, they suck balls. Like, they're masculine. They're out of shape. They're obnoxious. They've swallowed the American feminism pill, and it's garbage. And it's embarrassing and it's cringe to see them fall for that shit. Um, uh, Aaron Orr says they Western women just don't want to do anything for express pleasure of a man. Very true. Jason L says a group of us men were at a hotel lounge in Chiba, and the waitress would come and kneel on the floor to take our order. I mean, yeah, I mean, and they'll do it with a smile on their face, and they'll be very friendly and very, very, very gracious when they do it. Gabrielle says those assholes construction workers. Yeah, I mean, probably gonna have to log off. It's getting a little bit too much. Yeah, they're putting up scaffold, or they're taking it down. Actually, they were doing the building up, maintaining. But yeah, I'm gonna have to call it because it's just getting too noisy. They're probably gonna get a lot noisier. So yeah, guys. You know, if you are interested in learning more about game, more about particularly day game, get on. Consider joining up to premium content. Access to blog, Telegram, and monthly webinar on Zoom. So link in the chat. Join up. It's only $100 a month. You can unsubscribe anytime, but I mean, it's not going to break the bank. It's pretty much, it's going to provide a lot of high quality content on game. If it's something you want to get better at. I'm doing this like every day here in Tokyo. So yeah. So listen, guys, I'm gonna call it. Gonna bounce out. I'll be back Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Eastern Standard Time. So until then, guys, peace out. Have a good one. Bye bye.